Hello there, adventurers, and welcome to Wally DM. Today our adventuring party is going to help an apparition of a little girl find her way into the afterlife. Sometimes in the D&D realm, ghosts need to be helped and a few tasks or quests need to be done in order for them to get eternal rest. Now today's puzzle is featured in Tasha's Cauldron of Everything. This is Wizards of the Coast's brand new book for 5th edition that features a lot of puzzles that DMs can put into their games. Now this puzzle in particular has been classified as a hard puzzle for your game. Now there are actually two different phases to solve the puzzle in. You need to figure out the clues, and then those clues give you clues to how to solve the puzzle. So what exactly is going on? Well, we're going to find that out today, and also be sure to stay tuned to the end of the video where I'll give you a few more ideas on how to run this puzzle in your game. So today we're going to look at a puzzle from Tasha's Cauldron of Everything. This one's entitled The Haunted Hallway. Before we get started, just a reminder, if you have not joined our Discord yet, I highly encourage you to do so. Come on over and hang out with me and a lot of cool folks who know a lot about D&D. And please consider supporting this channel by hitting that subscribe button and picking up a copy of my brand new book, Wally DM's Journal of Puzzle Encounters, available now on DriveThruRPG. So in this puzzle, our characters enter from this direction. They enter this hallway that has 6 different alcoves that recess into the walls, and each alcove is lit with a candle. At the very end of this hallway is a ghost, and as soon as they come into this room, they're going to hear the soft murmuring sound of a sobbing young girl. Now we can allow a perception roll at this time. The hallway is fairly well lit, and they are going to be able to see the apparition of a little girl, and she is crying and sobbing, and there is an item that she is trying to pick up but unable to because her hands just keep going through this object. Now it depends on what the characters do at this point. If the characters decide to run up and attack this ghost or this apparition, then she is going to disappear and reappear in another location, and she's still going to be crying and sobbing. Hopefully, however, our characters have a tender heart and are kind of curious as to why this ghost is crying. And as they approach, they're going to see this little rag doll that is at her feet, and the ghost is on her knees, and she's just trying to pick it up. And when she sees the adventurers, she's going to say,
"Names, names. I can remember them all except the one I need."
So now if our characters show some compassion for the girl, she's going to tell them that her name is Delora and she just wants to pick up her doll. And if she could pick up her doll, then she could leave this place in peace. Now the characters try to force Delora out of the hall. She is not going to leave without this doll. Now Delora will tell the adventurers that if she could remember the name of this doll, then she would be able to leave this place. But for some reason, the name of the doll is the only name that she cannot remember. Now if the characters were to investigate and take a closer look at the doll, then Delora is going to divulge the following information.
My doll knows all 6. The first for the first, the second for the second, the third for the third, the fourth for the fourth, the fifth for the fifth, and the sixth for the sixth. Now the main portion of the puzzle is going to begin as the characters are going to need to take a look at each alcove. And in each alcove is a verse that is inscribed into the wall, and there is a candle that is lighting it so they can be seen. Now Delora doesn't want to go near the alcoves, but the characters can read what's inside of them and then ask her some questions about what they see. So the haunted hallway puzzle is actually constructed of 2 parts. The first part, the characters are going to need to figure out what name pertains to each verse that is in the alcove, and then after they get the 6 names, then they're going to need to decipher those names to figure out the name of the doll. Now, let's take a look at all of these here, and if you'd like to pause the video now so that you can figure out what these are, I'll give you a few minutes to do so. Okay, fantastic. Let's continue and see how we decipher the first part of this puzzle. Let's take a look at the alcove in the first position, which reads, "Not his keeper, nor he mine, loved and hated at the same time." This is kind of similar to "not my brother's keeper." Sometimes you love and hate your brother or sister at the same time. So this is going to be Delora's brother. So if this character were to ask Delora the ghost, say, "What was your brother's name?" then she's going to respond with, My brother's name was Sam. S-A-M.
Now we'll continue with the second alcove, which says, my first vision, her hazel eyes, my first sound, her lullabies. Well, a mother is usually the first thing that a child will see, and a mother is also well known for singing lullabies to get their child to sleep. So if the character that is taking a look at the verse in alcove 2 asks Dolores, say, what was your mother's name? Then she's going to reply with,
my mother's name was Delia. Delia.
Verse 3, her lives she lost, all 3 by 3, and through the darkness the hunter sees. 3 by 3, 3 times 3 is 9, 9 lives, a hunter in the dark. This would be Dolores' cat. So if our fighter over here asks Dolores, says, what is your cat's name? Then Dolores is going to shout out,
my cat's name was Fifi. Fifi.
That we're getting the hang of it, our ranger is going to look in alcove number 4, and the verse, lines in the face of life lived along, stories were his paternal song. Paternal meaning the grandfather, and so if our ranger asks Dolores, what is your grandfather's name? She's going to shout out,
my grandfather's name was Tobias. Tobias.
In alcove 5, the verse reads, mentor and guide, her lessons learned, knowledge measured by letters I earned. Now, with lessons and gaining knowledge and a mentor and learning letters, this is going to refer to a teacher. So if our fighter asks Dolores, what is your teacher's name? She's going to shout out,
my teacher's name was Joanna. Johana.
In alcove 6, our ranger is going to look at this verse, loved to eat hay, just as her friends did, lived in one room with a shoat and a kid. Now, who eats hay but a horse? So if our ranger asks Laura what her horse's name, she would shout out,
my horse's name was Alexia. Alexia.
So our adventuring party now knows the meaning behind each verse in the alcove. They were all someone that was very close to Dolores. So now it's up to you and the adventuring party. Dolores has divulged all of the information that she knows, including the answers to the verses in the alcoves, but she still can't remember her doll's name. But there is enough information here to reveal a cryptic message and to get the doll's name so that they can help Dolores grasp the doll and free her from this hallway. So with everything that we have covered, do you know what the doll's name is? I'll give you a second if you'd like to figure it out. Did you get it? Great, let's go over the answer. Now that we're at this stage, we're going to need to go back to something that Dolores said earlier, and that was, my doll knows all 6. So we're going to break that down. We have 6 names here. The first for the first, the second for the second, the third for the third, the fourth for the fourth, the fifth for the fifth, and the sixth for the sixth. Well, if the adventuring party hasn't come to their own conclusion, we can now allow them an intelligence investigation roll with a DC 15. If one of them succeeds, then the character interprets Dolores' cryptic clue about the doll as follows. All 6 refers to the 6 letters of the doll's name, which can be determined by gathering information from the verses in the 6 alcoves. So the name of Dolores' doll has 6 letters. Now we're going to look at each of the answers to the alcove. So we're going to start with number 1, the first for the first. And we are going to circle the letter S. And the next one is the second for the second. So we're going to look at the second alcove. The name was Delia. And we're going to count in 2 letters. D-E. So that's number 2. The third for the third, which is going to be our F. The fourth for the fourth, which will be our I. The fifth for the fifth, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which is an N. And the sixth for the sixth, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, which is an A. And our characters will have figured out the name of the doll, which her name is Safina. They will tell Dolores, say the doll's name is Safina. She'll be excited. She'll look at the doll. She'll say, that's right. That's it. And she'll say, come here, Safina. And she'll grab the doll. She'll be able to touch it. And then she'll be able to go through the hallway and continue on with her afterlife. Now that the adventuring party has successfully solved the puzzle and Dolores is on her way, then perhaps she reveals a secret door and our adventuring party can continue on with their exploration. So that is the Haunted Hallway, and again, this is a puzzle where the characters are helping a small child that is a ghost reach the afterlife, but the only way that she can do so is if she takes her doll with her, and the only way she can pick up her doll is if she's able to say the name of her doll. So the characters are just going through this entire ordeal just to figure out what the doll's name is. Now, one of the key parts to actually running this puzzle is to make sure that when the names are announced, that they are spelled out. So in the example of the first verse, the brother's name is Sam, S-A-M. Make sure that the characters, or rather the players, know that you're spelling them all out for a reason. Now, Tasha's Cauldron of Everything does really good at laying out some hint checks, such as a Persuasion Charisma check, DC 10, that'll help them get the answers a little bit quicker, an intimidation check in case the characters try to frighten the ghost, and of course that investigation intelligence check that we mentioned earlier as far as when it comes to what the ghost is saying about the first of the first, the second of the second, the third of the third. So the puzzle in itself just requires for the characters to interact with the lore of the ghost to figure out the verses, and then once they figure out all of the names, then to apply that first of the first, second of the second, which is simply just counting in how many letters of each of the names. I would also like to say thank you to Luna from the Luboffin YouTube channel, as she is the one that portrayed the voice of the lore of the ghost. Thank you very much for doing that. I appreciate it, and I will put a link to her channel in the description below. So that's all I have for you today. What did you think of this puzzle? Is this something that you could use in your game? And if so, what would you do differently? And are you going to enjoy this series of me presenting the puzzles from Tasha's Cauldron of Everything in my own style on this channel? And if so, what video or what puzzle from the book would you like to see next? Be sure to leave a comment below. It helps the channel out a lot. Check us out on Discord if you haven't already. Subscribe, all of things like that. And once again, thank you very much for watching, and on to the next.